Hello class, this is intended to be a brief video outlining Project 4 for our digital synthesis class. I first want to emphasize that this is an unedited video instead of me editing down content in Premiere. I am just speaking as I instruct as if I were in the classroom. The other thing I want to emphasize is that the example I've created here is a very basic example. It's a very simple narrative, and the intention of the project is I'd like for you to expand further. I don't want all students to just mimic what I've done. In this case, I've done a brief introduction of my family, but unfortunately for you guys, I'm only going to focus on myself, whom you already know and are probably bored of as it is now. For this project, it's an opportunity to be really creative and explore different avenues that you may not previously been able to do yourself in other projects. There is no concept for this project, other than it is a narrative, kind of following the choose your own ending format. Here, I've created a simple web page that can be hosted on a website, which I'll show on the next video. I've developed this in Atom, like we did at the beginning of the semester. Much of the content, much of the code right here was all developed using what was instructed earlier in the semester. So the hope is that you have access to your files from before. Some of you saved them to the Google Drive at some point in time, so you can access them that way. If not, I encourage you to view Jimmy Kuehnle's videos I have shared in previous emails outlining how to set up a web page. Him and I kind of worked side by side. He actually taught the classes, the digital synthesis classes before I did, so he would do an instruction, we'd talk about what went on that week, and then I would follow up and include that in my classes for the week. I'll include a link to his videos in the subject on my YouTube page. Okay? Before I did anything in working in Atom, the first thing I did is I created a decision tree. A decision tree is a map or a guide that I followed that showed me how I was going to construct my web page. It's not a linear path where it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, but here you can see it's a tree structure where it starts at the top 1, and then branches out to 4, then each of the 4 branches out to different options. So if we think of this as a web page, my index page is surviving my family. I click on the next button, Meet the Gandhi Gosses, and I'm on this page. And then for the sake of this demo, we're going to click on Scott. And then when we click on Scott, we're going to choose either loves his family or needs time alone. I'm going to choose loves his family. And then there are going to be 2 options that are going to occur in terms of gets frustrated or acts like he's sleeping. And then end is going to result in where it's a return to home button. So I've completed the story. I've kind of gone into the end. I click this button and it takes me all the way back to the beginning. So then I can explore the other characters in the story as well too. That is the intention of this project. It's a choose your own ending story. The decision tree maps out every intention for each page and acts as a very brief outline, more of a guide for myself, but something I can share with myself as an instructor or your classmates. The other thing I've done here is I have added some kind of indexing that I know of, and so or some kind of way so I know what page it is. And you'll notice that this 1A will correlate with an HTML document that I have here, which is 1A. And so this is the content of this page. Okay? And so this acts as a guide or a map. And so I have all these numbers and letters, so as I build up my page, I can reference back and say, oh shoot, 2B is loves his family more, but more on the weekends, or loves her family more on the weekends. And so that's one thing I wanted to encourage you to do. I developed this on Lucidchart. I had to sign up for a free 7-day trial, which I'll have to cancel. If you want to draw this up on a piece of paper, you're welcome to do that. I just ask that you write legibly and have very clear paths that kind of outline the route you intend to go. And I really encourage you to have some kind of indexing right here to tell you within your page. On my on my HTML documents, I just included only the index. You might also include a description in there too. 1A loves his family, right? .html. It's entirely up to you. All right. So for this week's class, I should also mention that this decision tree has a requested deadline of your class day at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so keep that in mind. In Atom, I have an index, which is my home page. That's the introduction, surviving my family page. I have Meet the Gandhi Goss. This is an introduction. You can see there's content in the paragraph that describes family. There's a series of 4 buttons: Meet Scott, Pyle, Priya, Sayre. That's my family. And those are all buttons in here. For the sake of this demonstration, we're only going to follow the path of Scott here. So you're not going to be able to meet anybody else. And all of this content was kind of brought in from other instructions that we did earlier in the semester. Okay. I do want to talk about videos, embedding videos within your product. This is not something that we talked about in class. For this demonstration, for this project, I had outlined, I think, both animation and video within the project description. And then in my project outline that the video of me talking from last week, I said, don't worry about the animations. I would say, I want you to include a video. If you prefer to do an animation instead of a video, that's fine. The video intention is to have it, it's an interactive, it's playful, it's humorous, and it's supposed to help emphasize a story and be kind of a synthesis of the semester as a whole. So you're using video, you're using drawings and other kind of content within your web pages. Okay, and so when you include a video, I would recommend you export it in MP4 format. So if you know from previously in Premiere, when you exported a file in H.264 format, it has an MP4 extension on there. Do that. Choose it so that it has a 720 resolution. Typically, this is about a 720 by 1280p constraint proportions, and so that's a pretty good quality for your project. And it's depending on the length, if it's 3 to 15, 20 seconds, the file should be pretty small. It should be under 20 megabytes even. If you start having it be minutes long with super high resolution 4K, you're talking about a video that's going to be really big, and it's going to make your project file a lot bigger, and it's going to take the video longer to download. If you do choose that route, there are ways that we can actually have it link to a embedded YouTube video onto your page, as opposed to having it just be within the hosted page itself. And if you are going that route and you're having trouble, just send me an email and I'll give you kind of a brief instruction on how to do that. But again, if you're going to include a video, let me talk about how I developed this here now. I wrote video with controls autoplay loop class video. This is indicating that I want to play a video. The width, that's the maximum width I'm going to have it. So I have it set up so that as the screen size gets smaller, the video player gets smaller, but as it gets wider, it's not going to go any wider than 1280. I want there to be a set of controls on there so I can pause and play it. Autoplay, I want it to start automatically. I have to include autoplay. Loop, I want it to play the loop over and over and over again. And then class equals video. And then the source, the class links to the style sheet. And then the source is the file. So I have mp4 screen composite 02.mp4 type video/mp4. You'll notice here on my left side panel, I have another folder here called mp4. Inside of my mp4 file is my screen composite 02 mp4 file, this file right here. Okay, so it's linking to that file right there, and it's playing. Okay. Additionally, on your style sheet, you'll need to include this content right here, video with 100% height auto, and then the brackety things, okay, inside. So you want to include all this in your style sheet too, because when I reference that, that's going to allow it so it sizes it automatically for the width of the browser page. So if you're on a mobile phone, it'll make it smaller. If you're on a desktop computer, it's going to make it larger. Okay. So include this. If you're following along and adding your video, just pause the video right now, write it down word for word, or character for character. Make sure everything's correct and all the colors correcting. Okay. All right. And so now let's go ahead and preview the page I've created here now. All right, so I'm going to go back to my index page. I'm going to choose packages. I'm going to choose preview, HTML preview, enable preview right there. Okay. I have this page, surviving my family. That's me struggling with this being my family all the time. All right, that's kind of the content of the story. Meet the Gandhi Gosses. I click this button right there. Scroll down, surviving my family, about the Gandhi Goss family. And then a description and paragraphs, an image that's been kind of drawn. Again, I did this really quickly. I'd like for you to kind of really think about how you want to generate your images for each page. If you like to draw more, I really encourage you to draw some your characters and have some kind of interaction within there. Embedding a video is really pretty simple, as I just outlined. And so if you want just a video playing of a girl beating the shit out of her brother the whole time, you can do that. Okay. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to continue on. You're going to meet Scott. This is Scott right here. He's a father and all that stuff right there. And we're going to choose spends time with family. All right, here's the video. He's playing with his kids, but every once in a while he just loses it completely, and he screams and shouts the whole time. When I preview this on the web page, this will auto loop automatically. It doesn't tell me to loop that. Okay, and you can see that now I've completed the end of this path, and so then I have it return to home. It takes me back to home, and here I can choose more additional paths. Okay. So that is the basis for what this project is expecting, is some kind of interactive form where you're going to have multiple different options and different paths within there, and then multiple paths within there. Okay. In the next video, which I promise will be even more brief than this one, which turned out to be not as brief as I was hoping it would be, I am going to show you how to host your page on a live website. So I'm going to copy this, Control C, and if I take this into a new page and press Control V and go through Google, it's here, and I can see all my videos are here. Let me show you. It'll play it automatically here for just a moment. See, it plays it automatically here. So in the next video, I promise to be much more brief than this. I'll show you how to set up your page, and then this is how we are going to share our projects. Okay. So when you're ready to turn your project in on Studio Finals Week, you're going to share this page. I'll set up a page within the resources and project descriptions folder, in which you can access, your class will be able to access all your classmates' projects. Your name won't be Didsing Class Demo, but rather be your last name, first name, project 4 dot, and then all these other characters on top of that. Okay. And then we'll share that. We can preview that. We can all kind of play around, and we can probably do that live, depending on how we're doing it within the critique. Obviously, this is my first time teaching an online course in this format, or any kind of online course, and so we're going to kind of have to see how it is. And if I can get some feedback from other instructors that have critiques earlier in the week than I do, I can maybe learn from what their approaches were. That's it for now. Again, this was a brief demo outlining how to set up for Project 4 and the intentions of the project. Your project is due on your class day. That's either Wednesday or Friday, depending on which class you are. I'm asking that the project be completed by noon on that day, so I can quickly take all your files, put them into that links page I just talked about, and then your classmates can preview your projects, hopefully in advance of the critique. The critique we will have at 2 p.m. on that day. I'm going to limit it from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on that day. And based on my other classes, that's been a pretty fair amount of time to kind of have a conversation, okay, and have a critique. Let me know if you have any questions. Just send me an email. As always, I am here to help. Thank you.